We had a meeting at Mar-a-Lago, and there was a lot of business owners doing $100 million a year, all the way up to $855 million. Top line revenue from 15 employees to 1,000 plus employees. Everybody was being asked, how are the tariffs affecting you? And everybody gave me challenges. And I said, how are you addressing this? What are you doing about it? How are you handling this? They gave a bunch of great ideas. I want to share it with you, but this is the data. The tariffs, according to Statista, is expected to decrease exports by 77% for China and lower imports by 77% for US, according to the World Trade Organization. Now, I don't wake up every morning trusting what the WTO says, but it is a data that we have that's being given to us through Statista. However, the key on why a few entrepreneurs make it and why most don't is because they are very creative in disruptive times like today. If you're not, there's a reason why less than 5% of entrepreneurs make it, and we're going to talk about that today. If you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and stick around to the very end. We're going to allow you to get all this stuff in our Connect circle for entrepreneurs only. Let's get into it. 10 obstacles tariffs create for entrepreneurs. Number 1, increased cost of goods. Now, this is something we're all experiencing. I buy stuff from all over the world. We're experiencing that. That 145% doesn't help. And according to JP Morgan, adds a $400 billion tax on businesses, which makes the margins smaller and smaller. You heard, Adidas talking about, well, because of this, we're going to have to increase the prices on this. You hear some people are saying we're going to eat it. You hear other people saying we're going to be fine. You hear some of the people saying we're moving all our stuff out to a different place. So for you, if you're watching this, what do? 1, you try to renegotiate. Most likely you're not going to be successful. But 2, you have to find a way to move out of China. Just the same way where you don't want to have all your money in one stock only, you want to diversify, maybe have a mutual fund or find a way. If you're not a full-time trader, you don't want to have all your money in one stock. You want to be able to diversify. You have to find a way to diversify where your goods are coming in from. Call other people. Look what Apple did. Apple moved 60 million phones that they make per year in China to India. They're looking elsewhere. If a $3 trillion company can do that, so can you. Number 2, unpredictable pricing. When you're looking at something like this that happens, you're like, oh my God, what do we do? If the price, I'm usually buying this at $25, it just went to $32. What do I do with this? In 2018, 2019, when we were going through the same thing with tariffs, JP Morgan said that most businesses, they just passed on that price to the customer. So if it was, you bought it for $25, now it's $32, you're selling it at $60, now they're selling it at $67 to make up for the difference. What Apple did, Apple found a way to see how much of that they can absorb. So this is a part where you have to get very good at talking to the vendors and the partners and have those types of conversations. They're going through a challenge just like you are, and they also don't want to lose you. You call, hey, Johnny, look, we all know what's going on with tariffs. How are you guys being impacted by it? Pat, in a big way. Totally get it. I am as well. I notice what prices you put here. I can't do nothing about that. Johnny, I would like to have a long-term relationship with you. What if we extend this for me to do a 4-year term with you, a 3-year term with you, instead of just a buy-to-buy? Would you be willing to lower this to a number like this for me over the next 4 years if I commit to doing this? Okay, I've never thought about that. Can you send me some numbers? Let me think about it, because I'm also talking to other vendors in other countries, but I would like to do business with you because we've been doing business together for the last 6 years. Let me get back to you. That's the script that you need to be having with people. By the way, they know that you're calling them. If you don't, they're surprised you're not. They're expecting a call from you. Number 3, delays at customs. This is very annoying. We went through it as well when we bought a bunch of merch that was coming in for us at SLS. Couple of the items were being delayed on what was coming here. So what do? We sat there and we went through a couple different things. How much is cost by plane versus ship? And you kind of sit there and say, okay, the cost here is 4 times as much as this. I need to pre-plan for what's going to be happening with some of the purchases I need to make 3 months, 6 months, 9 months in advance. So, well, you may be saying, Pat, I'm still stuck with some of the things that I have at the port. What do I do about that? Totally get it. What in 2018, Hasbro, which they sell toys, they were having a problem because the tariffs were causing some of the toys to be stuck at the ports. They're like, we got to get this stuff because it's Christmas. We got to sell some of the stuff that they have. They called a customs broker. The customs broker calls and talks to these guys on how they can accelerate. There's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's someone's job to do this regularly. And some companies decided to move from moving the stuff to a bigger port to a smaller port. I'll give you an idea. Last week, we're at the Kentucky Derby. My pilot says, hey, let's go to this airport. Why are we going to this airport? Because Louisville has decided that's the bigger airport. They're charging everybody Kentucky Derby weekend $20,000 to just land. I said, what? Yeah, because they're the bigger airport. What's a closer airport? Go to this airport. We went to the other airport, and then guess what we realized? We're looking around seeing all these athletes and celebrities getting off the plane. Other people were thinking the same way as well. But Louisville Airport, because it's the bigger one, they said, we're passing the $20,000 to. My pilot said, we can always go to this place. It's not a big deal. We did. So that additional questioning of identifying with the brokers, you're able to save money, but you need to do the due diligence and the research, or else nobody cares more about your money than you do. Number 4, supplier volatility. So let's just say you're working with China, and China decides to be disruptive. They're pissed off at Trump, and they're like, you know what? Here's what we're going to put. And you're like, wait a minute, I need that stuff. What do I do? Well, this is, again, goes back to you need additional places to look. You can't just rely on one place. If you rely on one place, it's kind of like a business. I'm consulting for an engineer guy. This guy's doing $22 million a year. His number one client does 19 million of the 22 million. I said, hey, just out of curiosity, how big's your business? 22 million a year. Great. Of the 22 million, who's your biggest client? He gives me the name. How much of the 22 million do they do? 19 million. I said, you don't have a 22 million out of your business. He says, yes, I do. I said, no, you don't. You got a 3 million out of your business. And you got lucky with a 19 million out of your business. I said, you better hurry up and get other businesses, because if that 19 million out of your business finds out they're your only customer, they will do this to you to save so much money, or else they're going to threaten to leave. You don't have a lot of time. Let's go, right? That created urgency. If you got supplier volatility, you got to call and get other options, or else the supplier owns you. Number 5, loss of competitive advantage. This is very important, folks, because if for you, every conversation is about price, you're like everybody else. There's nothing unique about you. If you don't have something different, because when you think about a couple other companies that went through this in 2018, Caterpillar being one of them, there's like prices. China's putting all these tariffs on the products that they're buying, and like, we got to raise the prices. What do? Are we like everybody else? They started talking about the history of their brand. They started talking about the projects they've worked on. They sold history. They sold stories. They told about how many amazing things they've built. They sold the credibility of how they deliver on the product that's superior. They went there. In moments like this, when you panic, you have to find a way to be a differentiator that's more than just money. Because if it's just money, you're probably going to go out of business eventually. Next one is difficult scaling internationally. Now, this doesn't apply to everybody, but let's just say you have a product that you sell to China, like Boeing was. In 2018, they're like, what am I going to be doing? 25% export. Why am I doing this? They sat there and they thought about it in a couple different ways. One, they targeted focusing, taking their business more to EU, which was a non-tariff environment. Number 2, they sat there and they said, what do we need to do to sell some digital products? Maybe SaaS, maybe software instead of a physical product that I have to constantly go through a China. And those were some of the strategies that they made. And it's something that you may want to consider as well. This one probably doesn't apply to everybody, but it's currency fluctuations. When some of the companies that are doing business internationally, you're watching the dollar, you're like, wait a minute, I may be affected by this. This is where you may be buying futures, similar to how in options, say you own a stock and you're like, worried this company could go down. I own the stock, but what do I do to protect myself? Maybe you buy a put, maybe you'll buy some options to protect yourself against it. Again, 95% of people watching this, it doesn't apply to you at all. But for the small percentage of people that are watching this, you're probably already having those conversations with your board. Next one is confusing regulatory changes. So think about this. Every year, say the new government, new administration launches new tax changes, right? Here's what we're going to be doing for corporate taxes, small business owner, income taxes, all these things. I have a long meeting with my investment advisor, my accountants, lawyers, everybody we get on, and we have a 2-3 hour call to see what's changing, what's going on. Let's be prepared for it. Well, here's what's got to change. We don't have this anymore. We don't have that tax write-off anymore. Compliance with tariffs, sometimes your accountants don't know, your CFOs don't know. This is where you invest into compliance, or even bringing in your accounting firm to say, look, with all the stuff that's taking place, what should we be looking out for? How are we being effective staying compliant? Well, I don't know, we need to spend that money or not. If you don't, and then later on it gets nasty, it could end up costing you a lot more rather than you making the investment now in compliance. So this next one is about cash flow crunches that a business owner may have. Let's just say you raised capital, you borrowed some money, you got $500,000, $1 million, $10 million, $50 million. And now you're looking at this stuff like, wait a minute, what am I going to be doing with all this stuff that's going on? You have the conversation with whoever gave you the money, and maybe even your partners, the people that you buy stuff from, and you say, look, is there any way we can lower the payments that I'm making to you for the next 6-12 months so I stay afloat and I pay everyone's salary? In 2007, 2008, when mortgages were going through challenges, everybody's sitting there saying, I'm about to lose my house. I can't pay my mortgage payment. Banks started doing modification with certain people. And they said, hey, your interest rate is here. Let's bring it down here. Let's give you 12 months of deferment. You can do that today if you're a good partner with some of the vendors and partners you do business with. Last but not least is domestic supplier inflation. So say you're selling a product. I'm talking to a guy who's like, Pat, my prices have gone up. What do? I said, call your clients and talk to them honestly. What do you mean? Tell them what happened? Yes. Tell them what happened. Oh my God, Pat, that's so scary. I get it. Let's sit there and say, hey, before, this is what it was costing me, $48,000. It's now cost me $67,000. It's coming out of my pocket. There is nothing I can do about it. My labor cost, if you notice, I'm charging you the same labor cost. I don't have a higher labor cost. I'm charging you the same. I'm just wanting to be transparent with you because I hope you appreciate the fact that I'm being straight up with you with this inflation, that I'm directly being impacted by inflation. Then that customer is going to say, well, listen, I appreciate partnership and we've been together for many years. I respect the fact that you've been open about it. Perfect. Let's move forward with this. Perfect. Can you also make sure we're honest about if the prices go lower? I will show it to you in 6 months if it goes lower as well. Fantastic. Let's move forward. You move forward. Sometimes clients and customers will appreciate you being honest with them, especially in times like this. Okay, so if you want these notes, we started an entrepreneur circle on Connect. We almost have 300 people on there right now. We've decided we're going to go first 500 people that join that circle will stay at $5. At exactly 5:01, we're raising it to a higher number to be in that circle. I love what's going on. Everyone's communicating, interacting with each other. I'm posting videos and content in there as well. If you want these notes, click on this QR code or go to the link in the description. Get there, join the circle, and be with all these other folks that follow this content as well. And if you enjoyed this video, there's another video I want you to watch. It's about the tariffs, how Trump's tariffs are impacting the economy. If you've never seen it, click here to watch that video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.